Hey, my love, it's Sherry Pearl, and you're listening to Dust of Passion Stories, the corner of the internet where women send in the nights that don't look perfect on paper, but stay in their bodies for a very long time. Tonight's letter comes from a woman who thought she'd already closed the door on wild, ridiculous sex, until a weekend in Lisbon, a wobbly hotel bed, and one very real man tested that theory for her. The night the hotel bed gave up on us. Dear Sherry, I'm 44, divorced, mother of 2 teenagers, caretaker of a perimenopause vitamin collection and one very stubborn latte habit. And last month I broke a hotel bed in Lisbon with a man who actually wanted to be there with me. You can tell this story, just change my name, call me Claire. I was married for 18 years. It wasn't a horror story, it was fine. House, kids, IKEA, sex on birthdays and anniversaries if no one had a cold, and match of the day hadn't gone to extra time. When he left for someone less intense, I smiled, signed the papers, and spent the next year pretending I was absolutely fine. Thanks. Quietly, underneath all that, I decided sex, the good kind, the can't stop smiling kind, just wasn't for me anymore. That was for younger women with flat stomachs and ring lights. Then I met Adam. Adam is 39, runs a little design studio, and looks like the kind of man people ask for directions. He's broad-shouldered, a bit soft round the middle, bike-strong forearms, stupidly kind eyes. The first time we met at a barbecue, he apologised for not knowing the correct ratio of Pimm's to lemonade. I told him I mark maths homework and would allow it. He messaged the next day. 3 months later, several coffees, some very good car kissing, and one failed attempt at sex on my squeaky post-divorce bed, he said, "What if we went away, somewhere with sunshine and tiles, and no one can shout mum through the door?" My sensible brain started drafting reasons to say no. My mouth said yes. We booked a long weekend in Lisbon. Lisbon is beautiful and absolutely not designed for British knees. We stayed in Alfama in a small hotel with blue tiles, a rattling lift and a room with white walls, a wrought iron bed and a balcony over the terracotta roofs. We did all the things. Tram 28, too many custard tarts. Vinho Verde at a tiny table with wobbly legs. Every time Adam put a hand on the small of my back going up those ridiculous hills, something low in my body woke up, stretched, and said, "Oh, we're still alive then." Right beside it, another voice. "You're 44. You have lines and a soft belly. You're going to have to take your clothes off in daylight." By the second evening, walking back to the hotel, my legs ached, my head was pleasantly fizzy with wine, and my entire system was split between 2 desires. I wanted him. I wanted to be perfect for him. I had prepared for this weekend like an exam, fresh cut and colour, new black lace set from Marks and Spencer that cost more than my weekly shop. Shaving places I hadn't seen properly since my 20s. In the bathroom that night, under the brutal hotel light, there I was. A 44-year-old woman's body, soft where it used to be flat, breasts not in the same postcode as when I was 25, faint silver lines on my hips from pregnancies and midnight toast. I put the lingerie on anyway. The bra did heroic work. The knickers came up higher than what I wore in my 20s, but they held me in a way that felt kind, not punishing. I turned off the overhead light, left the bedside lamps on, took one last breath and walked out. He was sitting on the bed, scrolling. When he looked up, the phone slid a little in his hand. "Oh," he said, just that, low and stupidly sincere. He put the phone down without looking where it went. Bloody hell, Claire, he added, a little hoarse. I tried to glide. I probably did something closer to a cautious shuffle. You like it? I asked. Understatement of the century, he said, standing. He changed into boxers and a t-shirt, not a Calvin Klein ad, just Adam, bare legs, faint tan line, a soft line of hair disappearing under the waistband. Real. He walked over, slower than usual, like one wrong move might scare me off. Can I touch you? He asked. My ex never asked, he just, reached. Yes, I said. His hands came to my waist, thumbs brushing lace. His gaze did a slow, reverent pass from my mouth to my bra to the curve of my hips. You look ridiculous, he murmured, in the best possible way. My laugh came out too high. You're not so bad yourself, I said, but you're wearing too much. The first 10 minutes were nice, soft, kissing. His hands exploring carefully, then with more confidence when he realized I wasn't made of glass. My fingers under his t-shirt, learning the shape of his back. He tried a couple of things that made me smile. Textbook, sexy moves you recognize from films and bad advice columns. It was almost endearing, watching him try to be what he thought he should be. We tumbled onto the bed. It gave a dramatic creak under us, the headboard tapping the wall in a way that said, steady. He shifted his weight, trying to kneel between my legs. There was a sharp crack from the bottom right corner, and then the whole frame tipped. We slid towards the broken corner together, a slow, helpless slide, like two very surprised penguins. The mattress lurched, the headboard slammed into the wall with a metallic bang, and we ended up in a heap, me half sideways, him with one knee off the edge and the other wedged between slats. For a heartbeat, there was absolute silence. Then, from the room next door, someone banged back on the wall. Tudo bem? A man's voice called, muffled. I felt heat blast up my neck. We broke the bed, I hissed, as if whispering could hide the evidence. There was a pause. Then Adam started laughing. At first he tried not to. It came out as a strangled snort against my shoulder. Then his whole chest shook. He rolled onto his back, arms over his face, and just let it happen. I stared at him, horrified, and then something about the picture. This grown man, tangled in sheets, hair sticking up, absolutely losing it, hit me in the stupid part of my brain. A sound burst out of me, half laugh, half squeak, and that was it. We lay on the listing mattress, laughing so hard my stomach hurt. Every time I got myself under control, I'd catch sight of his naked knee still poking through the frame and start again. Another knock on the wall. A woman this time. Please, Calma. Which obviously did not help. Tears were running down my face. My bra strap had migrated somewhere up near my ear. For the first time in years, in a bedroom, I wasn't thinking about my stomach or what angle the light hit me from. I was just there, messy, loud, completely cracked open. When the laughter finally faded, leaving little aftershocks in its wake, he turned his head to look at me. You all right? He asked, apart from the emotional damage to your relationship with hotel beds. I think so, I said. My dignity is in intensive care, but I'll live. He reached over, tucked a strand of hair behind my ear, fingers trailing down my neck. For the record, he said, voice lower now, you laughing on a crooked mattress in that bra is one of the hottest things I've ever seen. Because nothing says sexy like breaking furniture, I muttered. I mean it, he said. His thumb stroked bare skin at my waist where lace ended, You're not performing. You're just you." Something deep in me went very, very quiet. We wrestled the mattress off the broken frame, still giggling, and dragged it onto the floor. It landed with a dull thud. Standing there in black lace, hair wild, a bit sweaty, watching Adam kick a rogue bed leg out of the way in his boxers, I had the oddest thought. Maybe this is what starting again actually looks like, not perfect lighting and flawless angles. A slightly out-of-breath man swearing at cheap furniture for you. He turned back, cheeks flushed, chest rising and falling a little faster. There was a smear of dust on his arm and a grin on his face. "For the second half of tonight's performance," he said, giving me a little bow, "I offer lower altitude, same enthusiasm." My laugh came out softer this time. Lower. "Get over here," I said. He crossed the room in 3 strides. This time, when his hands found my waist, there was no polite distance left. The laughter hadn't killed the desire. It had stripped it down to its bare bones. "You realize," he murmured near my ear, "that this is my first ever illegal mattress situation." "Same," I said. "Look at us, still having firsts in our 40s. He kissed me, and something in me stopped watching myself and just dropped in. His mouth was warm and sure now. Less, "Is this the right move?" and more, "I want you, here, like this." One hand framed my jaw, thumb under my ear, the other slid up my back to the clasp of my bra. For once, it behaved and came undone at the first try. The straps slid down my arms, the cups loosened, then fell away. I made myself keep my arms at my sides. I watched his face, the way his eyes darkened, the way his breath caught as he saw me properly in that soft lamplight. "God," he said quietly, "you're you." It was such a simple sentence. It burned straight through me. We sank onto the mattress, the floor firm underneath. No creaks, no wobble, just weight and warmth and the sound of our breathing. He braced on his forearms above me. The solid press of his body pinned me in the best possible way. Not trapped, just held, like gravity with intent. His mouth found that place just below my ear that turns my spine into an electric fence. I gasped. He smiled against my skin and went back there again and again, learning me by repetition, not theory. My hands roamed over his shoulders, down his back, across the softer curve at his waist. He wasn't a magazine spread. He was real, hot under my palms, alive and a little uncoordinated, and absolutely here for this. Little sounds started coming out of me. Not neat, film-friendly sighs. Real ones. Low, broken noises that had been sitting in my throat for years, waiting for permission. At one point, his knee knocked the bedside table. A bottle wobbled, clinked, didn't quite fall. "Smooth," I panted. 50 shades of absolutely not coordinated. He muttered into my neck, making me snort and gasp at the same time. I realized, somewhere between a laugh and a moan, that the sexiest thing in that room wasn't the lingerie. It was the fact I'd stopped apologizing for taking up space. Doing it on a mattress on the floor means there's nowhere to hide. I felt everything. The rough drag of his stubble along my collarbone, the slide of sweat between our chests, the thud of my own heartbeat in my ears, matched by his, just under my palm. Every time my body jerked, the mattress jumped with us. We were out of breath, a bit too loud, slightly ridiculous, and I did not, for one single second, care what I looked like. I opened my eyes. I hadn't realized I'd closed them. and found him watching me. Not from a distance, not checking how he was doing, just locked in. There was a kind of wonder there, and something else, something that felt suspiciously like gratitude. "Don't look at me," I blurted, old habit flaring. He slowed, didn't stop. One hand came up, fingers gentle as he pushed my hair back from my face. "I like looking at you," he said, "especially when you forget to pretend." Whatever knot was left inside me just slipped. The next sound that tore out of my chest didn't feel like mine. It felt like it belonged to every version of me who'd ever kept quiet so no one would be uncomfortable. When it finally tipped over, it wasn't tidy. It came in a rush, hot, wild, completely off script. All the parts of me that had been clenching for years just let go at once, like someone had taken their hands off the brake. My back arched, hands clutching at his shoulders, his name breaking in my mouth. For a few seconds, there was nothing but pulse and heat, and the solid weight of him keeping me exactly where I needed to be. Then it ebbed. My muscles went soft. I collapsed back onto the mattress, breath coming in ragged little pulls that turned into half laughs. He followed a moment later, body shuddering, forehead pressed to my shoulder, my name exhaled like a word he'd been practicing under his breath. The room settled around us. Somewhere a lift rattled, a car horn floated up from the street. Someone's TV murmured through a wall. Our mattress didn't move. The ruined bed frame lay in pieces beside us, like a crime scene. Later, he rolled onto his back and brought me with him, so I ended up sprawled across his chest. My hair was a bird's nest. My mascara had definitely gone abstract. My hips already hinted at a tomorrow morning ache. I'd never felt more attractive. "I can't believe we actually broke it," I said, staring at the cracked slat sticking out from under the frame. "In our defense," he said, "it was probably on its way out. We just helped it be honest." "Romantic," I snorted. His hand traced idle patterns on my arm, from shoulder to wrist and back. "Do you regret it?" he asked, quieter. Us, not my future ban from Portuguese budget hotels. I thought of my neat little post-divorce life, the careful, controlled, quiet safety of it. I thought of my body on that stolen mattress, flushed, loud, unposed, and the way his eyes had lit like he'd just found something he hadn't even known he was looking for. "No," I said. "I think I'd regret not doing it a hell of a lot more." He let out a breath that sounded like relief. "Good," he murmured, "because that image is permanent." So, that's my story, Sherry. I went to Lisbon thinking I had to earn a man's desire with the right bra, the right lighting, the right behaviour. I thought sex at my age had to be neat and tasteful and very, very grateful. Instead, a hotel bed gave up on us, and with it went the whole performance. What was left on that mattress on the floor wasn't a woman trying to look 27 again. It was a 44-year-old in overpriced underwear, hair a mess, laughing too loud, making sounds that would definitely embarrass her children, being wanted exactly like that. Looking back, it's funny. The lingerie, the foreign city, even the way he touched me, they were all background. The real thing, the one that still makes my stomach flip, was realizing I didn't have to shrink to be allowed to stay. If some woman is listening to this, lying very still on a tidy bed, holding her stomach in and her breath back so she doesn't rock anything too much, tell her this from me. The bed can probably handle more than she thinks. And if it can't, if it breaks under the weight of who she really is, that might be exactly where her real story starts. With a cracked frame, a stolen mattress on the floor, and someone who looks at the chaos and says, "Good, now we can begin." Yours, Claire, 44. That was Claire, and I have to admit, I have a soft spot for any story where the furniture gives up before the woman does. I love that her big comeback to sex at 44 didn't happen in perfect lighting with perfect angles. It happened on a slightly stolen mattress with dust on his arm and both of them laughing so hard the neighbours got involved. If you've ever tried to keep everything neat and quiet in bed so nothing squeaks or wobbles, maybe her night is your little permission slip to let something rattle. If you want to hear more nights like hers, stay with me here, hit subscribe, and come back soon for the next story.